Welcome, seekers of the unknown, as we pull back the veil between the living and beyond. Unraveling questions that plague our minds, and oftentimes presenting the evidence that may prove them true. Let us take you on a journey where paranormal becomes normal, and where what is right behind you just might be echoes of the afterlife or something more. But fair warning, once you step into the supernatural with us, you might just stay haunted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Stay Haunted.
Woo! Happy Monday night. Hello, everybody in chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Of you.
Remember how I said I thought we were going to be dog free tonight because the kids are here? She was just here. She was just like right in Carmela's like, it's not out of like this real fast.
Is it my show? Is it my show? That's what she was saying.
It's my show. Is it
my time? Is it my time? Can I be on? Can I climb in? We are excited to be back.
It is, and I have unfortunate news. Audra has been really super sick the last couple of days, so she will not be joining us tonight. So, but she should be back next week. If she's still sick by next week, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong.
Feel better, Audra. We miss you and hope you recovery.
Speedy recovery. Speedy delivery.
Hello, Melissa. Hey, Mary Beth, how are you?
Hey, Mary Beth.
Hey.
Who else is in here? Mary Beth, Melissa. I'm always watching a cat or three.
No.
Well, I don't like the fact that YouTube changed it to people's, I don't know if it's their YouTube name or if it's their emails or what it is. I don't like it.
I tell you what, when, I know we had the, so talking about the, it's the shorts version, because we were having a lot of people pop in and out or whatever. So it gives you that option for the.
It doesn't give me that option anymore. When I set up the show, it does not.
Hey, if it gives you the option, throw them both out there. if it lets you click on it or whatever. So you got people coming in and coming out or whatever. That's all right. But
yeah.
So how was your weekend aside from Miss Audra not feeling well?
My weekend was okay. I had to fly to Baltimore for work. I'm here until Thursday. That's why you don't see my hat. And my flight got delayed, unfortunately. The plane was coming from Charlotte, and from wherever it came, I think it was coming from Chicago to Charlotte, it got delayed for they said a half hour, and ended up being an hour and a half. So I should have been at the hotel at like 5 p.m. Sunday night. I didn't end up getting here till after 7:30. So, and it's colder here than it is in Detroit. That's lies. That does not equate. What the hell?
Yeah, it's probably that moisture flow, because you're in Baltimore, you're close to, we're not that far.
We're right on the Atlantic.
You got the ocean influence.
Yes. Yeah, what's funny is I of course I have executive level national because of the amount of travel that I do. And I literally just walk out the rental car place, I pick my car and pull out. And I, grabbed a Dodge Durango because they're cool. And they had just washed the car right before they parked it. So the hood was still wet, but the water on the mirrors were completely frozen already.
Oh, geez. That's how cold it was.
Yeah.
A whopping 13 where Mary Beth is.
Yeah. Well, when I landed in Baltimore last night, it was 12 degrees, but the wind chill said it felt like -1.
Yeah, it was a little chilly.
We had 3 degrees, right?
Wind chill. Yeah, I think this morning or yesterday morning. It was. I think it was maybe whatever it was. The real feel with the wind, it was like 3 degrees. I know that much.
Yeah. So. The funny thing is they say on Thursday it's supposed to be like 58 degrees, and I leave Thursday morning. So the minute I get on a flight, it gets warm.
I was a little worried whether or not you were going to make it in because the snow Well, you flew in the afternoon, so you were good because it stopped. I think it was done, around here. It was done snowing around 9, 10 a.m. or whatever. So you were good because you flew out in the afternoon. So I was worried or concerned about whether or not it was going to affect your flight at all. So,
but I will be flying into New York, Philly, and Boston in January and February. So
fingers crossed for good weather. So.
Yeah, no kidding.
You never know.
What'd you guys do this weekend?
I don't know why I can't remember.
I don't remember.
Oh no,
Part of it was drinking, apparently.
No,
we did.
we did. We actually had a good weekend. We just didn't post it yet. So go ahead, you could tell.
What did we do Friday?
Well, Friday, I think we just relaxed. Friday night we relaxed when we got home from work. Saturday morning we got up and did what?
Got our tree.
We finally were able to go squeeze in with the boys. Got our Christmas tree. Got it in, got it up, watered it.
Now we just decorated it.
And now we just decorated it. And then
TJ turned 21, so we went into Philadelphia. We got into a few bars. We went out to eat.
Yep, we went to Philadelphia. Has a bunch of pop-up bars, Christmas themed pop-up bars. We went to one that was called
so loud.
Tinsel. It was called Tinsel, and
so we had 6 drinks. How much do you think 6 drinks were?
$110.
Close.
Pretty close. It was without the tip. It was 102.
Just drinks.
Just the drinks.
And we didn't have 6 drinks. There were 6 of us.
Yeah, what did we have? We actually had a good. It was a shot. It was a
Grinch. It was
a Grinch eggnog. It was called the Grinch, but it was eggnog mint. It was good. It was a shot.
It was really good.
So we did that, and then TJ had it was.
I don't remember.
It was something in a little.
It was in a little boot.
A little green Christmas boot. So
Christmas
we did that. Yeah, we went from there. Then we went to he wanted to go eat at McGillen's Ale House, an Irish bar. So we walked around to that. So we had this whole.
Loud.
It was loud. It was a free for all. It was crazy.
The waitress kept saying, "I don't know what you're saying to me." I'm like, I can't yell any louder.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I can't scream anymore. I've lost my voice.
Like TJ was sitting literally this far across from us, and he's like,
couldn't hear a word he was saying.
It's like a Godzilla TV show or whatever. I was like, oh, so
that's funny.
But yeah, so we went there, and then we walked to Wanamaker's. Was an old, Wanamaker store in Philadelphia is historic. It dates back to 1911.
Don't say 1973.
No, 1911. 1911, I think, was when the dedication. Who was it? It was who was the president? I forgot who it was.
You took a picture of it.
I took a picture of her. I got to look. It was pretty cool. We got to go see a bunch of cool things and
I used to go to it when I was little, but we missed the light show.
Yeah, they have a light show. They shut it down, but they kept the light show because they would do a light show every year.
Is that Frankie?
I don't know. Is that Frankie? Who's that? Frankie.
Parasite?
Yeah, that's Frankie. Hey, Frankie.
Hey, Frankie.
Thanks for tuning in.
We're going to fall off our chairs.
Oh,
really,
you know what? I think his work schedule changed, so his Monday nights are free now.
Look at that.
So they have a pop-up villages and stuff like that around City Hall in Philly. It was wall-to-wall chaos. I mean, we figured it was going to be busy, but it was off the wall crazy busy. So, but all in all, it was a good time. Got to celebrate his birthday and stuff. So, and here it is. I found it. Nope, that's not the one. That's not the picture. There it is. I found it. So it was William Taft. So this star locates the place where President of the United States, William H. Taft, delivered the address of dedication of this building December 13th, 1911. And we were there on the 13th. So we were there on the day when he gave the address of the dedication to the Wanamaker building.
1911.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was cool.
It was cool.
That is really cool.
So that was our weekend. We had a great time. So
that's awesome.
Which leads us to 2 great guests this evening.
Yes, we do.
So
guys, I'm gonna introduce our guests. Yeah. This is gonna take me a couple minutes because they have a phenomenal bio. I'm gonna try and summarize it for it, and anything that I miss, we'll talk to them about so we get good content for the show, right? That's how it works. So guys, everybody say hello to, or you will say hello to Gail and Cara of Nine Lives Paranormal. Gail Gamble and Cara, I hope I say this right, Cilento are the powerhouse duo behind Nine Lives Paranormal. Known for their gripping investigation, emotional intelligence, and natural on-camera chemistry, they have quickly become standout personalities of both the supernatural community and the mainstream media. Audience recognize Gail and Cara from News 12's Tri-State Hauntings, where their personal episodes have become viewer favorites. Their work extends across some of the most legendary and energetically charged sites in America, including Penhurst, White Hill Mansion, the Cashtown Inn, Isaac Morris Estate, and the iconic Conjuring House. Their unique approach of mixing historical research, psychic intuition, and advanced investigative technology have made them well known for providing strong evidence and engaging stories. In addition, their on-camera work, they are also published authors. Their first book, Out of the Darkness into the Light, explores the intersection of personal transformation on the paranormal. Their second book, The Pen and the Planchette, debuted as #1 bestseller at the Victorian Itinerary Criticism on Amazon, demonstrating their ability to reach audiences well beyond the paranormal genre. Gail and Cara are also creators and hosts of the regional Paracon and Film Festival, The Hollow, a rapidly growing community event that blends supernatural entertainment with independent filmmaking. And their media footprint is set to grow even further as they collaborate with Sergio Torres, producer of the YouTube icon JonTron, to star in co-produce the documentary series In Search of Hauntings. Beyond the spotlight, people increasingly trust Nine Lives to do work in private and residential cases involving haunting, possessions, and spiritual obsession. And they're based in New Jersey. Gail and Cara continue to unearth the hidden narratives woven throughout the state's rich and unsettling history. With best-selling books, growing festival platforms, network television credits, and a slate of media projects, Gail and Cara stand ready to expand Nine Lives Paranormal into the premier entertainment brand, inviting audience everywhere across the threshold into the mysteries just beyond the veil. Guys, everybody say, and I missed a ton, guys. We're going to talk to them about it. Everybody say to Gail and Cara from Nine Lives. Hey, guys.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome to Stay Haunted. So we always like to start our show with guests that haven't been on before. Each one of you take a couple minutes and tell our audience what got you involved in the paranormal to begin with.
Go. You go first. I would have to say, so I'm from Missouri, a little town in Missouri called Joplin. And I grew up with weirdness. I mean, when I was young, my parents would load the kids into the car. We would go to Hornet, Missouri to see the spook light, which was this light that would appear at the end of this old dark road. And then when I got a little older, my brother and I would go investigate Peace Church Cemetery, where it was said that a headstone glowed in the dark. So it was just ingrained into my childhood. I grew up with it. It was something I've always enjoyed. And when I moved here to New Jersey, I found out that New Jersey is just as weird as Missouri. And there were lots of things here to investigate as well. So it was just a natural transition for me.
That's phenomenal.
Yep. So I am born and raised in North Jersey, and I come from a Italian American family. Go figure. And my family, we were steeped richly in Italian American folklore and the stregaria, which is the Italian witchcraft. However, they didn't tell me that's what it was. They masked it in just tradition. So, growing up like that, you always develop an intuition, and that there's always something more mystical and magical than what you could see right in front of you, right? There's always a different layer. Coupled with the fact that my house that we currently live in, and it's actually my family home, is a mile down the street from the now defunct Overlook Asylum. So I grew up with that being a functional asylum. And then as it slowly closed, my children actually went to preschool on the campus grounds of the Overbrook Asylum. And now it's actually condominiums. But so I grew up with a lot of spookiness between, like I said, Stregaria, the hauntings of the Overbrook Asylum. It was like in my DNA. And so that's how I got involved in it.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. So Mary Beth wants to know, how many cats do you have? Which leads
You would
me
think we
to a
have
question.
cats with the 9 Lives logo, but we actually have 3 dogs, and I work at a doggy daycare.
Yeah, Nine Lives comes from the fact
That was
that every time
going to be my question.
where'd it come from? Because every time we go on an investigation, there's a ghost
We
cat.
see a ghost cat, like
Oh,
every
yeah.
time. There's always a ghost cat.
Always a ghost cat.
When the first time I went to the Conjuring house, I hadn't even gotten in the house yet. I was outside showing people where to park. And I love all animals, anything with fur. My headstone's gonna say she died petting something she shouldn't have. So I turn around and there's a cat. I mean, I can see it very clearly. It's a calico cat. I say out loud, "Kitty," and I'm thinking I'm gonna pet you, but I had to turn around to make sure the cars were going in the right direction. So I turned back. Cat was gone, and there was no place for it to go. It's an open yard. So ghost cat,
Real cats.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Which just proves that cats in death, just like in life, still have attitudes.
They do.
100%.
The attitude transcends. Yep.
That's awesome.
Oh, somebody's from Kansas City. I love Kansas City. Oh, I love to go there. The Power and Light District. Go there and hang out and have a few drinks. Yes, and the KC Irish Fest. I'm still trying to get this one to go to the Kansas City Irish Fest.
Yeah, that's Melissa. She said that she's from Kansas City and loves Joplin.
There you go. Okay, so now we know what got you guys involved in the paranormal. How did you two come together to form Nine Lives?
So the first thing I think that we really did together when I came here, other than the fact that I'm from Missouri and my parents, my brother and sister-in-law owned a barbecue restaurant, and Kansas City and Missouri and even Joplin are synonymous with barbecue. I came here and I'm like, I'm gonna eat like their pizza, and I want like a hot dog from a vendor. I want to experience New York food. She takes me to a barbecue place. Anyway,
it's around the corner from the theater.
Other than that, the other thing that we did together was we went on an investigation to Mid-Orange Correctional Facility. And it was awesome. I had never been on an investigation with an event company, where they take you through. And so we kept doing these investigations together. But because of the way we are, we were like, it was interesting, but I feel like we could do it this way. And so the more we talked, the more we decided, why don't we? Why don't we give our ideas, to lend the way we like to investigate, to try to translate that to other people, because we wanted to know where the ethical responsibility was, first of all. They throw all these people out into this investigation, and some people were getting really affected. And they were just like, go get some air. And we're like, no, we want a little more than that. So we wanted to show people how to investigate safely and ethically. We also wanted to really promote the history of the places. I mean, they gave us a very, very brief history, and that was it. And we really wanted to showcase places that had a rich history, that weren't just there for investigations, places that were historic buildings that maybe needed a little help, like the Elks Club that needed help, with their heating and air because it was old. So we thought, we'll go in, we can explore the history of the place, do an investigation, and at the same time, help them make some funds for them to do some repairs on their structure. So yeah.
And I really do think too, when we decided to go on our own and do things, it's because I think, and this is just I kind of feel that when we go to do events and things like that, it's people are going there for like one thing, right? They're going for the experience and the haunt, right? But the paranormal is so multifaceted, and nobody was shining a light on any of those other facets of the paranormal. So when we did it, we wanted to be more well-rounded. Yes, we would do events. Yes, we would, go to locations, but we also wanted a stage so that we could showcase other sides of paranormal exploration, in a very inclusive way. So that's why we went off on our own.
That's fantastic. So explain to everybody, walk us through how you, once you've established that you have either a private or a public investigation, or I shouldn't say public investigation, a known location that you guys are going to investigate. What's the difference in the style of your investigation versus others? How do you prep for it? What do you do different during the investigation? And how do you vet your evidence once you review everything?
All right. So, okay. So if we were doing a private investigation, and I'm like a private home, you mean? Like a private home?
Sure. Let's start with a private home.
Okay. So if we're doing a private home, usually there's a whole big process in what we do. Okay. And it first starts with an intake form that they have to fill out. Right. And it goes from the history of the people to the history of the home, and try to get some I guess lineage of this haunting, the history of the haunting, any things that could have sparked it, you know. But we also go deep into medical history. We also go into psychiatric history of the people of the home, because we do want, like we're talking about vetting, you know, when we go into homes, sometimes, yes, there is a haunting, but sometimes when we go in, the people have unresolved mental illness issues that are starting to manifest with delusion and hallucination. So we work to get a intake form that kind of asks all about that. Then we have a virtual meeting with the people, you know, that we're going to be doing the intake form. And sometimes it's just one of us. Sometimes we have other people involved, depending. But we do ask again, for current medical documentation from them if we do think that there is an issue going on. And then in terms of going into the house, we go to the house, and we're actually very quiet, because if the people are experiencing this haunting in their house, right, they're not sitting there in the dark with all this investigative equipment when this haunting is happening. They're sitting in this house and they're just living their everyday life. So we kind of fade into the woodwork and just kind of like let it happen, you know, while they're living their everyday life, and just come in as observers. You know, we do take baseline readings, you know, K2, see if that, you know, they, you know, and you would be surprised how many people have poor electrical outlets, and poorly grounded sockets, you know, but they do, you know, so we do environmental readings. We do things like that. You know, like I say, when we do paranormal investigation, you become a jack of all trades and a master of none. It's like, you know, HVAC systems, you know, like, you know, the dew point temperature of when, you know, your floors are going to creak and all that. So we do all that. And it doesn't, you know, sometimes it takes more than one time, you know, to go there. We always keep a recorder running, but we really don't do any aggressive investigating. And I don't mean aggressive like come at me, bro. I mean aggressive like, you know, I mean aggressive like we're with the, yeah, right, come on,
Bring it on, I'm ready.
Bring it, you know. We're there, meaning we're not there with the SLS camera, we're not there, you know, we're just observers. Because like I said, you know, if these people are sitting there eating dinner and like a plate flies out of their cabinet, you know, you know, that's what I want to see. And they're just doing regular stuff. They're not all geared, you know, it's just
right.
Also,
right. I think that's fantastic, because you see it on, sorry guys, I didn't mean to interrupt. You see it on television where these groups go in and they film it and they do their show and they do these private investigations at people's personal house, and they go, okay, everybody get out, turn out all the lights, let's do the investigation. It's like, that's not when they're experiencing the crap.
right.
So you're changing the chemistry and the energy of the location. How are you going to experience what the homeowners are experiencing if you change that, right?
Exactly.
Right.
We have them go about their daily or nightly routine, and then we, like she said, we kind of blend into the woodwork. Plus, we're not taking in a bunch of equipment, because, you know, there's a learning curve with spirits. When we go to investigate, you know, say like an Elks Club that's never been investigated, we take our equipment in, it kind of starts out slow because the spirits might not have any idea what this equipment is. They don't know how to use it. We don't want to take this stuff into a private home because we're teaching the spirits
How to haunt.
how to haunt. Exactly. So, one of the things I always see is people go, okay, finish this, and so then we leave and these poor people are stuck with
They're sleeping. They're sleeping in the
or
night. They're hearing knock, knock,
if
knock,
you're
knock.
here to make this light and turn on the light, so then they're stuck with their lights going off, and we're like, see ya, good luck, going home.
It's fantastic.
I never thought about that, but that's
Yeah.
good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, we've never done we've never done a private. So that's, those are things that we've never thought about.
Yeah.
Very, very different.
The after effect. So
Yeah. It is very different, and sometimes even just having the virtual meeting sparks activity within the home, because they're there in that house, and whatever's there knows we're talking about it. So
Right.
it's like, oh, you gave me a voice, So usually after we have the initial contact via virtual, I usually text them like the next day, like, how did it go? So
And so then on the other end of the spectrum, you have, us as an event company taking people as a group through different facilities. And kind of what I touched on before, we really, although the tried and true places are great, and we love going to White Hill, probably one of our favorites. We love Penhurst, but we really enjoy taking folks to places that no one's ever investigated, places that have historical relevance. The first thing we do is tell people about the place they're investigating, because really part of our job as investigators is giving the people who lived and breathed in this facility a voice. So we want to know about the people. We want to give these spirits a voice, and and hopefully give a name to these spirits so that they will be remembered. We also, we want people to investigate responsibly. We always say no preconceived notions. And what I mean by that is, you watch shows and something happens, maybe something gets thrown or someone gets touched, and they immediately go to, it's aggressive. Well, let's say you go into a place, it's never been investigated, they don't know how to use the equipment, but they know you're talking to them and they're excited. They want to communicate with you. And the only way they can think of to get your attention is to throw something at you or pull your hair. It's not an aggressive overture. It's simply a means of trying to get your attention. So first and foremost, no preconceived notions. So I think that's one way in which we start out maybe a little bit differently than other places or other investigative teams is, we want to make sure that people know what to expect, that it's explained to them that it's not just a spooky experience, it's a historical experience. And it can be a learning experience, which is kind of what our first book talks about. You can take away so much from these spirits and their story and what they have to say. Then we also tell people, explain the equipment. And when I say explain the equipment, not just tell what it does, explain that ideally this is what it's supposed to do, but does that mean there's a ghost? No, it doesn't. It's all about relevance. It's all about using your equipment and your own body and other people in the room, what they're feeling and hearing, and you put all that together, and that creates your evidence. It's not simply relying on that piece of equipment that's lighting up, because that could be any number of things. You always want to make sure that you have other pieces of equipment and other things going on so that you can use them to validate each other. Yep. You want me to go down?
Bring it down here. We have all the history in Columbus, all around us.
Yeah.
There's so much here that you guys probably haven't seen.
So maybe, well, we're speaking of White Hill. Do you want to talk about White Hill a little bit?
What do you mean?
Well, because of your connection to White Hill.
I know, but
So, I mean, you guys, that's one of your favorite places, right? White Hill?
Oh, we've done White Hill 7 or 8 times.
Easy.
Yeah.
so my grandfather was in the mafia, and he used to go there, which I never knew. I
Oh,
never knew
wow.
this until Kyle was talking about it. He's like, "Oh, Sam the plumber." I'm like, "Oh crap, that would be my grandfather's group." And we've gone in there, and I've talked to him a few times. But I mean, other than he didn't like me, but other than that, but White Hill's one of our favorite. We're supposed to be going on January 2nd. My uncle just passed away. My cousins are coming up here to do, have the funeral and everything. So we're hoping to get into White Hill. And I said, maybe with my cousins there, because like I said, he didn't like me. I was the youngest. So I'm hoping maybe we could stir something up in White Hill.
Yeah.
Well, now I know when I go there. Well, let me tell you, first of all, when I go to White Hill, no matter what I do, whatever piece of equipment, it does not matter. It's something there calls me the B word. It doesn't matter.
Well, they call me that too.
Oh, look at that. So
maybe it's Italian.
Maybe
yeah, it has to be.
Italian thing.
It could be because it's to the point where I'll have the Phasma box on while I'm having another conversation, and it'll bitch, and it tries to drown me out.
But I've gone there every time, and every time I go in the basement, you hear Carmella's here.
Aww.
And no one ever says my name. Like nobody knows my name.
Yeah.
Nobody knows how to spell it. So I was sitting there, and Kyle's like, "Look at your phone." I'm like, "Stop playing with me. I'm not looking at the phone." He's like, "No, look at your phone." And I went, "Oh, it says Carmella's here." And it was the Phasma box. It was Spirit
Talker on
which
the phone.
I've never had my name come across that.
Like
I mean, Phasma box once in a while, but I mean, I was like, "Oh," and it spelled it with 2 L's, not just one. But 2. And I was like, "Oh." But if I call him Grandpa, he doesn't answer. But if I call him Joe, then I get the answer.
Yeah. Yeah. The last time because we had gone across to the pond in September for the Festival of the Unexplained, we met a couple over there, and they just happened to come over like 3 weeks later, and we took them over during a Sunday just to do a quick little mini tour with them and stuff. And that's when we actually did an EVP. And she's like, "Joe, are you here?" And we get an EVP. Yeah. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah."
You hear a man's voice.
Voice saying, "Yeah."
So I said, "I know I can't call you Grandpa, but if I call you Joe, will you answer?" And then I said, "All right, Joe, are you still here with me?" And he said, "Yeah," in the background.
Wow, that's great.
That is cool.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Gail, you briefly talked about your book and stuff. So can you let the audience know a little bit about you? So you guys have published 2 books. Start with the first one, and kind of talk a little bit about both of them, if you would, please.
So the first book, Out of the Darkness into the Light, is about what we have taken away from each investigation we've done. It's life lessons. It's each investigation, every single one affects us, and we take something different away from it. And so we kind of wrote the book to let people sort of pull back the curtain and see, what it's like to really be in the trenches and do these investigations. I mean, it will affect you. Sometimes it affects you positively. Sometimes it affects you negatively. Yep. But you always take something away. And we just kind of wanted, to let people know, for us personally, what we've taken away from each investigation. And then we went completely the opposite direction in the Pen and the Planchette. It actually stemmed from, we have a good friend who has an antique store in Denville, and we've been doing a series for her on Victorian authors and how their writings were affected by spiritualism. And we had so much information, and we're like, we could write a book about this. So that's exactly what we did. We compiled all this information, and it's about how, the spiritualist movement was huge, and it really did influence a lot of the authors of that time, and the characters that they created They drew from the spiritualist movement of that time.
Yeah. It's interesting. The first book, when we talked about, because we were asked to do a lot of presentations also on our experiences and where we've been and things and our evidence that we've seen. And I was trying to go through, I don't know if anyone's seen this documentary. I think it's called 7 Minutes. And it's a guy who did 25 years of paranormal investigating. And then he went through all of his footage and he took out he wanted to take out what was the most compelling evidence of the paranormal. And out of 25 years, it boiled down to 7 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. And so, and he did a documentary on that. So I was watching that and I was like, well, I get what he's saying, but there's so much more to the paranormal experience than just those 7 minutes, because I'm watching the behavior of other people and I'm seeing how they're affected. And I always say, if it's changed you, then it's paranormal, or if you're having an emotional response to something and you remember it like down the road, like years later, and it had such a profound effect, then that's paranormal because it changed you.
Mm-hmm.
And so the first book, Out of Darkness into the Light, talks about those aspects too. Grief, not only grief for the people who are the family of the people who passed, but do we ever take into consideration that the person who passed is grieving? And what they're experiencing, that they either miss what they had, or they are feeling as disconnected as we are with their loss,
Right.
And we go into the experiences of people who decided that they were going to dabble in things that they weren't prepared to dabble in, and how that affected them. And how, us working with these people, that in turn affects us, so the paranormal experience, becomes like a chain reaction, and we wanted to kind of give that, a platform. And like she said, for Out of Darkness, Pen and the Planchette, we not only wanted to go into history and the spiritualism, but also in the same vein, what happened in these authors' lives that pushed them to seek those answers that we are seeking, and made the spiritualism so attractive to them, besides, just being the fad of the day, and a lot of them, again, they, were also seeking answers, not only for deaths in their lives, but other people like back, women who were oppressed because it was like the 1800s, so they were looking for answers for other things, and this gave them a sense of power because people weren't telling them what to do. They were actually having some sort of control. So, so that was I nerded out for a minute. Sorry.
No, it's fantastic.
We love hearing that
That
stuff.
was actually fantastic. I love
Yeah,
it.
that was awesome insight.
Well,
So-
and I've told people before, I love the way you say you take something positive, you take something negative away, depending on what type of investigation that goes on. And I love that you say that, because I've explained to people on private investigations that that I've dealt with. Some people walk away and the next day they're not feeling good, and then other people walk away and I feel really good about that investigation. And I've told them I call it paranormal pine tar, like baseball players use on a bat, right? Mm-hmm. You have a positive energy, you have a negative energy, and it's like taking two magnets. When you do the positive energy and the negative energy, and you try and put those magnets together, it pushes against itself, right? But if you take the positive and the negative and you try and do that, then it comes together and it clicks. And it's the same type of energy. Depending on the experience that you had in that investigation, you can either connect with that negative or you connect with that positive, and you tend to take some of that energy with you. It affects you no matter what. So that's why you do grounding. That's why you do cleansing every time you leave. You want to make sure that energy doesn't stay with you, especially if it's a negative energy that's bringing you down or making you feel bad or making you feel crappy. You want to make sure you clear that off of you. And I love the way you guys said that. That's fantastic. Yep.
Well, not to go off on a tangent, but Todd and Caruso, my negative energy experience.
Oh yeah. Well, we told Chris.
We talked about it last week. So yeah, we had James and Anita on last week, and we talked about Robert the Doll and your and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Did you mention my eyeball?
Yeah.
Oh, we mentioned it all.
He said it all.
Well, and I believe I don't believe that Robert's possessed. Just my belief, just my opinion, but I do believe that all the negative that has been placed on that doll for so many years creates a negative energy that if you allow it to, can affect you.
Yeah. Also too, I don't know if you mentioned this last week, which I wasn't aware of, which is probably how I don't want to say it got me, but how I came away, with the negative attachment was because people are sending other haunted objects to the museum. So there are other haunted objects in there, which I wasn't prepared for. I thought I was going to go into a museum and there was just Robert the Doll and that was it. I didn't realize there were going to be Santeria altars and jars of teeth and voodoo dolls. Yeah. I didn't realize there was, I didn't realize.
Yeah, I didn't realize there was all that crazy shit there too.
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the whole gravestone, from the von Castles. I don't know if you know that story.
No.
Yeah, the von Castle story is he's a guy, that he was in Key West and he self-taught himself to be this anesthesist, X-ray technician person, right?
Oh, maybe.
And a woman comes in, that's sick with TB, right? I think it was TB or cholera, one of the two, TB, cholera.
Yes. Yep.
And she comes in and he immediately becomes obsessed with her. And so he convinces her that he could cure her and all that other kind of stuff. Yeah. And eventually what happens? She dies, and then he goes and he digs up her body and mummifies her, and for 7 years keeps her in the house.
Yes.
Not only keeps her in the house, has a relationship with the
couple. Yes, has a full has a biblical relationship with the dead body.
That's about as detailed as we get with that.
Yeah. Sorry. A little creepy,
so,
but
so the her headstone, because he broke it. Her headstone's there. The original headstone's there. Now she's buried in an undisclosed location or whatever. But yeah, so that's in the room right next to Robert.
Yes.
Oh.
What's funny is the time Audra and I were down there, because we go to Key West all the time. The time that we were down there and we saw Robert, Audra was standing there and she goes, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I'm not worried about him.
Exactly.
What about all this other shit that's around here that's causing all this negative energy in this room?"
Yeah. I was like, I walked in and I was like, "What in the hell is this?" I was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Go down into the catacombs," and I go, "Oh," I'm like, or the tunnel, and I go into the tunnel, and I was like, what is that? Are those teeth? I was like, are those teeth? And then it says unidentified teeth. And I was like, ew.
So we
becomes a Barbie doll at that point. Yeah.
We were down in August and we were driving by and we were busy. We had the kids with us and stuff. And I was like, we were driving by. I'm like, oh shit, we forgot to stop by the fort as we're driving by. And she's just like, she looks at me. She's like, nope, just keep driving.
Nope. No desire.
So she's like, you can go in if you want, but
I'll sit in the
car. I'll sit in the parking lot.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
So
so Robert, he was not my creepiest part of the evening, even though even I was saying it's like, I was affected, but I'm not quite sure it was him. Like after a while, it's like there's so much stuff in there. It's like it could have been anything that was in there that snuck its way in because I wasn't prepared for it.
Right.
So
well, and then to top it off, there's all the iguanas running around the damn fort, which gives you. It gives you that creepy
one
feeling
one.
because you got shit running behind you in the bushes. You don't know what the hell it is, right?
Right.
We did see a shark though.
We did see a shark.
We did see a
and
shark.
we saw a lot of chickens.
Oh yeah, a lot of chickens.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
chickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tons of them.
Love Key West. Love Key West.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
So talk to us about how do you do, you guys, you talk to us about how you do private investigations. Now talk to us about how you do places like Penhurst and White Hill. Do you change the type of the way you investigate, or is it always the same?
I think we pivot. We're fond of that word, pivoting, depending on where we're investigating. And so you kind of change hats. You're now, a paranormal group and you're taking people who, you also want them to have a good experience. You want them to be engaged. So when you're taking a group of folks through an investigation like that, there's a lot of hands-on. We take the time to, although we do get a lot of people who are pretty seasoned, but we want to make sure they're using the equipment appropriately. We always say, don't make the equipment your whole experience. It should be multifaceted. Don't rely solely on your equipment. We discuss, again, the history. Your dog's trying to pull the cake off the counter.
Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 second, please.
Gotta go get the dog.
He didn't have enough sauce. He wants some cake.
We don't, we're all people, so we all know.
He had his sauce. He wants his dessert.
Yeah, that's right. They're not looking. I'm going to get that now.
We sit down beforehand. We talk about the history of the place. We'll let people know what to expect. We'll showcase the equipment. We also design some of our own equipment, so we'll go over that. We talk about what to do if you are affected. We talk about different cleansing techniques depending on what your belief system is. Because, it's not a one size fits all. If it's more based in Christianity, then, whatever, if it's a cross or whatever makes you feel confident and powerful. That's what I tell people. When you're going into these places, you need to feel confident and secure in whatever faith-based system you have, to avoid any type of potential attachment. And I also tell people, with regard to my favorite phrase, it's a demon. It's almost never a demon. You can't just, people, it seems like so many of the shows I see, they act like being possessed is like, it's so easy. It just happens. It's not, you've got to send out an invitation. You've got to be open to that attachment. You've got to invite that demonic presence in. And again, I say demonic presence, but it's not like they're just everywhere. I mean, certainly sometimes you will get a cantankerous spirit who'll say that they're the devil, but that's more or less because they don't want you in their space and they're trying to scare you away.
Right.
But we talk about how to protect yourself, whether it be your crucifix or your crystal. What else? So then
I think too, another difference that when we do investigations of a known haunted location, right, is that we're a little bit more free to experiment with different things. Not so much even equipment, but, give ourselves some more paranormal challenges, and and I don't want to say challenge the spirit and, it's just like, I'll meet you at the flagpole, but, like really test it out, bringing out the Zener cards and like tell, and say, can you EVP tell me what shape it is? Or could you tell me where this is? And, try different methods. Like one time, like we did, we took a fog machine and a rave light, the one that spins or whatever.
Oh, wow.
you know, and we did the fog, and then we took the rave light, and they're so cool. It's like a glove. It is a glove, and then you charge it, and then this part has a light, and it spins in a circle, so it makes like a vortex.
It's like a laser light.
Yeah, like a laser light, and
wow.
and you shine it into the smoke, and you know, and then you ask a question, and you know, like, you know, look for a figure or whatever. So in a known haunted location, you know, you could do certain things, you know,
right.
like that, because you verified, we all know that there's a presence there, look, you know, and we're just trying to, you know, up the ante and see what would work, rather than take something like that that's really experimental and bring it to an unknown place.
Yeah,
Right. Where you don't know what to expect.
You don't know what to expect,
Right.
you know.
But that is something we do, especially White Hill's a big one, you know, because, you know, like us, so many of the people have been there multiple times. So we wanted to try to create something that might be a little bit different than anything they've experienced before. So when we would kind of, you know, we'd do the group investigation, and then afterward we would do our paranormal experiment. So like she said, the
Right.
fog machine, we did water scrying.
Yeah, we did water scrying with black water. We did that. We did, what else we do? The water scrying, and just regular scrying. So we kind of, and the next one that I want to do, which obviously we got to wait now, because it's so cold out, but I want to get a hydrophone, and I want to listen for voices in running water, like actually outside. Like I honestly tried to go get water when I wanted to do water scrying. I actually tried to go get water from behind White Hill Mansion, because I figured, well, if that's where the guy drowned, then I want that water,
Right,
you know,
right. Yep.
Right.
scrying, you know, or whatever. But I didn't realize that you can't get to the water.
Yeah.
And you have to go across railroad tracks to still get it. So you got to dodge the river
Exactly.
line. You got to dodge the river line and go through a steep hill, cross the rail line, and then get to go through a bunch of woods and brush and stuff.
It was like over the river and through the woods. I was like,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
no. So I was like, absolutely not. So, and then I was thinking, okay, then I'll do it at the Shanley at the well, if there's still water in the well, but I don't know. But of course, when do I go to the Shanley? I'm going like in the middle of January. It's all going to be frozen. You know.
Well, I'm wondering if a chunk of ice would work.
Maybe.
Probably.
Well, you can always melt it.
Melt it.
You could melt it.
And another thing that we have done and want to do on our own is I've got a very nice metal detector sitting in my closet in the box. We want to do some metal detecting at these places, of course, with their permission.
Right.
And if we find some objects, then use those objects as trigger
For
objects.
triggers, yeah.
Not only that, but have like at the same time that you're doing it, go out there with your equipment and a K2 or whatever, and just say where can we find you? What can we find? Can you tell us what we're finding? So I think in a location that is reputably haunted, it gives us more of a chance to do things like that.
The experiment. I would love to go back to. We've been to a place in Gettysburg called the Belvedere Inn, and not only is it an amazing place to stay, but it's also haunted. And I would love to take some folks there because it's got such a rich history, and do one of our experiments. Take a group and use our equipment, whether it be like we have a piece of equipment called that where the words pop up on the screen, and see if the spirits can direct us with the metal detector on where we can find an object, and then in turn, kind of like
a cool experiment. Yeah. Thinking outside the box. We like that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Don't mind the dog.
Real quick, guys. For those of you listening through the UNX audio, unfortunately, UNX is going to go to their next program. But for everybody watching on YouTube and possibly Facebook, go ahead and stick around. We're going to stay here for a few more minutes with Nine Lives Paranormal.
Awesome. So I have a quick question. So you've talked about what got you into the paranormal, what the private investigations, the public investigations, the groups that you take around to learn about the history. Talk a little bit about the Boot and Elks Lodge that that you guys, how did you come to investigate there? You guys we're blessed that we've gotten to meet so many great people. And then we were fortunate. We weren't able to come last year, but I think this year was it your second year for the Hollow Paracon? So we were able to come up. I'm able to come up and visit and see everybody, and it's a great little Paracon that you guys have there. So talk a little bit about that, if you would.
So we acquired the Elks Lodge through our friend Laurel, who owns Times 10 Cup in Denville, and we went to Times 10 Cup early on. This kind of goes back to saying that we wanted to focus on some places that hadn't been investigated before, that had a rich history that we could explore. And we found this little antique store, and it kind of just called to both of us. And then we could tell that the house had quite a bit of age to it. And it was right next to apartments that clearly used to be a church. So I bet that was, maybe the house of the, what do they call those? The
Parson.
So we just kind of cold called and walked in and said, "Hi, we're Nine Lives Paranormal, and we would love to investigate your antique store. Is that something you'd be open to?" And thankfully, Laurel was like, "Yeah, I think I would." So we talked to her at length, told her what we did and how we did it, and she was all in. And we've done multiple different things, not just investigations, but we've done seances, we've done lectures, we've done you name table tipping. I mean, we've done so many things. I've lost count of everything that we've done there. And she said, she was a member of the Elks Lodge. In fact, she's one of the higher ups. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she said, you should investigate there. There's a lot of history there. So we went down and spoke to the Elks, and they were thrilled because they not only have a rich history and knew the place was haunted, but they also needed a lot of help as far as money. Yeah. I mean, getting a new roof and fixing their air. And so we said, yeah, we can absolutely help you out with this. So we invented Freaky Fridays and started, it just kind of, it became what we always dreamed of. It was like a place where all these groups can come together, and hang out and talk and compare evidence. And it's become this wonderful fellowship. It's awesome. And then that now has parlayed into the Elks Club in Clifton. We're going to start working with them. We have 2 dates with them. And then from there, we're probably going to start working with the Elks Club in Rutherford.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah. So the Elks Club in Boonton, besides it's being haunted, it seems to have definitive personalities. The spirit seems to have definitive personalities. There's one upstairs that's like a curmudgeon. There's one, there's a woman that walks around that tends to be a little bit more playful and almost like party-ish, but not modern party-ish. She's more like 1920s-ish, flappery-ish. And then there is another gentleman that seems to be up in there's a balcony that seems to stay up in the balcony. And he kind of like lurks. Mm-hmm. And in the basement, there's another one that seems to lurk. The basement has a functioning bowling alley in it. And he seems to lurk behind like where the pin mechanisms are and peeks out every once in a while. And actually the last time we were there this past Friday, the lights were going on and off in the men's and women's room by themselves. And they're motion.
The bathroom that she used?
What?
The bathroom that Carmela used when we were there.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
He was turning it on and off.
I was turning it on and off on her.
Oh, you were turning. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. So, they were going on and off.
See what I mean about teaching them how to do that?
No, look what happened.
And I wasn't even doing it on purpose. That was it. It was not intentional. It was just.
See what you did, Todd?
See what you did? That's my idea. So, But yeah, so and the Hollow has been the home for what you were saying. The Hollow, we had two small paracons there that focus more on community in the sense that, again, the same vibe for Freaky Friday, that it's a gathering place. You know, it's the same. It's the same for the Hollow, and this year we expanded it to include film. So we're going to continue with that. You know, we might have outgrown the Elks Club coming, this coming year. We might be moving on to actually a college campus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and we're going to change it up a little bit, I think. But you'll have to, watch the website to see. Actually, I was going to post a thing saying that we're announcing that we're coming in 2026, and it's a short AI video of me turning into a werewolf and howling. So
because why not?
Because why not? Oh yes, Frankie the Hollow is a community. Yes.
Yes.
We had so much fun. It's great when you're at a convention or a gathering like that, and everybody's walking around. The vendors themselves are walking around, and they're exchanging things like T-shirts, and
people were trading T-shirts and hats. And everybody, it was just so cool to sit back and just watch.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, sorry.
Hold out for a second. So I was just thinking, this just made me think about, because Frankie, when we were there for the film preview, the short documentary that you guys participated in, I mean, I'll happily take the blame for the bathroom lights or whatever, but I believe Frankie was doing light sessions down there right next to the bathroom. So like, going on and off. So that just, I'll take all the blame, but
Todd, that's called deflecting.
All right, it's all deflecting a little bit. Sorry about that.
All right, guys. Unfortunately, we are out of time. But before we go, I want you guys to tell everybody where they can find Nine Lives, where they can find your books, where they can attend your events. Spill the beans, spit it all out, no shame.
Go for it.
All right, so everything is very easy. Every social media thing that we could possibly be on, that we are on, which would be like TikTok, Instagram, all that. Facebook. It's all at Nine Lives Paranormal. Our website is, guess what? www.ninelivesparanormal.com. Our email would be 9livesparanormal@gmail.com. Our YouTube would be 9 Lives Paranormal. And as for coming up, I don't think we have anything left in December because of the holidays, but we do on January 9th. We have Daryl Marston coming to do an investigation at the Boot and Elks Lodge for Freaky Friday.
Nice.
So please go on to you can go on Instagram at 9 Lives Paranormal, and the link is in my bio to get tickets for that. There will be an investigation. And
in February we'll be at the Clifton.
And we'll be at the Clifton Elks Lodge because they wanted us to do the documentary stuff and everything there. So again, that's the link in my bio on my Instagram. So I think that's it for now.
For now,
because of the winter, we were kind of taking it a little bit slow. So yeah, and keep looking on our YouTube for posting content. We do drop Haunted or Hype, which is where we go on, we do investigations, present evidence, or we have a haunted object and present evidence. And then I ask you guys, do you think it's haunted or hype? That's it.
So just real fast, Melissa said, damn, this went too fast. And we know it's only an hour show, and we tend, we try to hold to an hour, but, when we have great guests like you guys, definitely once, we will have you back on in the future.
I love it.
We love you guys, and because there's still a lot that I know personally I want to ask, and questions I wanted to ask and stuff like that. So that's kind of the unique thing about the 1 hour show, because it leads to wanting to have people back on again and multiple times.
Yes. So it's all a strategy.
Our evil little plan.
That's right. That's part of our evil plan, right? Well, thank you, Gail and Cara, for coming on. Thank you so
Our
much.
pleasure.
We loved you guys having you guys as a guest. Our audience loved you. I'm sure the people that jump on YouTube and watch it after it's live, because everybody thinks 9 o'clock is late, you bunch of wimps. But we tend to get a lot more views
Take
on
photos.
the replays than we do on the live, because we do go live at 9, but on a Monday. But good Lord, if we're not too old to be it, you're not too old to be
You're
here.
not
So,
old.
right.
Hey, I
But-
tell my kids the same thing. I'm like, your mom is 54 and she's coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning after investigation. I don't want to know.
Right.
Crap.
Right.
Right, exactly. But we really did enjoy having you guys on. Everybody in the audience, thanks for joining on with the live. Thanks for all the comments. It's always fantastic having you guys here. Guys, we will see you next Monday, Christmas week. Who knows? Todd might be dressed as Santa.
Week.
Ho, ho,
Carmela
ho.
might be dressed as Mrs. Claus. You never know.
I'm the Grinch.
Or actually, because Carmela's height, she might be an elf.
I could be. Well, I keep shrinking.
Who knows?
You were pretty good tonight.
I know. I kept moving
Yeah, she did
forward,
good.
backwards.
But again, Gail and Cara, thank you so much. Thank you, Nine Lives, for
Thank
coming
you.
on. It was a great show. Guys, make sure you tune into next week. And remember, guys, you don't have to have 9 lives to get involved in the paranormal, but you do have to stay haunted. All right, guys, have a good night. We'll see you next
Good night,
week.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.